If I stay tonight, I'll cross the line. The words came out of Daniel's mouth before he even realized he had said them. Mara stood in the doorway, one hand wrapped around the strap of a worn canvas bag. The other pressed against the wall as if she needed it to keep herself upright. Outside, rain hammered the windows of the small apartment. Inside, the silence between them felt heavier than the storm. Daniel looked away first. He had spent the last 3 years teaching himself not to look at her that way. Not at the softness in her eyes when she was tired. Not at the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. Not at the little smile she tried to hide whenever he made her laugh. Mara was his best friend. That was the line. The one thing he had promised himself he would never cross. "You can stay," he said quietly. Her eyes lifted to his. "You just said you couldn't." "I said if you stay tonight, I'll cross the line." "And you still want me to stay?" Daniel swallowed. "I want you to be safe more." That was the kind of man Daniel had always been. The kind who gave away the last slice of pizza and pretended he wasn't hungry. The kind who stayed late at work so a coworker could make it home to her sick child. The kind who had once spent an entire afternoon fixing a stranger's flat tire in the freezing rain, then refused to accept $1. Mara knew all of that. She also knew the reason. Daniel had learned kindness from his mother. His mother, Elena, had raised him alone after his father left when Daniel was 6. She worked 2 jobs, came home exhausted, and still found the strength to make sure every neighbor who needed help had something to eat. When Daniel was 12, he once asked her why she kept helping people who never helped her back. She had smiled and said, "Because kindness isn't a business transaction, sweetheart. You don't give because someone owes you. You give because someone needs you." Daniel had never forgotten those words. Mara had needed him for almost a year. After losing her job, her apartment, and eventually her fiancé, she had moved into a tiny studio across town. She told everyone she was fine. Daniel knew she wasn't. He knew because he had once found her sitting on the floor of a grocery store parking lot, crying so quietly that no one else noticed. He had sat beside her without asking questions. She had leaned against his shoulder. And that was how their friendship had begun. Now she stood in his doorway with rain dripping from her coat. "I have nowhere else to go," she whispered. Daniel's chest tightened. "What happened?" Mara stared at the floor. "My landlord changed the locks."